Well, tonight, another partial government shutdown is possible just months after we had a 43-day shutdown, the longest in U.S. history. The sticking point this time is over the funding of the Department of Homeland Security. ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen is here with an update tonight.
Becca, tonight we are learning of a potential deal to stop a shutdown for now. Democratic leader Chuck Schumer says this deal will separate funding for the Department of Homeland Security from their overall spending package. DHS funding will be decided at a later time. Democrats in Congress have refused to pass funding for Homeland Security as it ramps up its immigration enforcement operations. But Republicans say failing to pass this legislation would hurt working Americans. Here's what happened earlier today.
The motion is not agreed to.
In a 45-55 vote, the U.S. Senate failed to pass the Consolidated Appropriations Act that would keep the government funded and open. It was a package of bills that included funding to the Department of Homeland Security and includes more than $10 billion to ICE as immigration operations continue throughout the country.
Do what our constituents expect of us, which is to keep the government funded, while then also continuing to have oversight and bipartisan reforms when it comes to the best way to conduct immigration enforcement.
Republican Congressman Kevin Kiley says the House of Representatives recently passed this version of the funding package.
Funding for things like body cameras and for training for immigration enforcement in terms of how they interact with the public. Those are all things that were negotiated and that are part of the bill.
But a majority of congressional Democrats still voted against the bill, refusing to provide any additional funding to DHS, ICE, and CBP.
Republican colleagues here have applauded the administration and chosen to give the Department of Homeland Security billions more dollars.
On Wednesday, Democratic Senator Alex Padilla criticized the ongoing immigration operations after 2 people were killed in Minnesota. Ahead of voting no on the budget bill, Padilla called for more oversight and reforms on the Department of Homeland Security.
I support imposing serious reforms, real oversight, and accountability on ICE and CBP before this body provides them any more taxpayer dollars.
Again, an agreement made tonight will separate the funding for the Department of Homeland Security from their overall spending package. DHS funding will be decided at a later time. But if no agreement is made on DHS funding, a possible shutdown is still possible. Agencies like TSA could still be impacted just months after going without pay during the country's longest shutdown, lasting 43 days, Becca.
Jeannie, thank you so much.